Commissioner Coates?
Here.
Commissioner Laird?
Present.
Commissioner Milne?
Here.
Commissioner Nick Layson?
He's absent.
Chairman North?
Here. This time, Scott, would you step up and open us in a word of prayer? Right up here. That way everybody can hear you.
Chairman North and Commissioners, thank you. It's an honor. If you're willing, would you pray with me today? Our God, we thank you for this gathering today, the faithful leadership of this board, and the blessing of living in this wonderful place and community of people. Thank you for your goodness, faithfulness, and blessings given to us abundantly each day. Lord, we recognize that you have authority over all things, but that you establish governing authorities as you please. We pray today that you would give this team wisdom, justice, mercy, and humility in a manner similar to your direction to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with you. And give the citizens of this great county the wisdom, strength, and patience to also do as you directed, to be subject to the governing authorities, leaving no fear of condemnation, but only a clear conscience. Thank you, Lord, for the freedom that we enjoy in this great nation. Remind us and help us to live each day with courage, gratefulness, kindness, contentment, forgiveness, love, and joy, and to pursue the truth vigorously. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
All
I
right,
also think, Scott, it's an honor for you to do this for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. This time, would everybody join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Anna, I believe you're up.
Are you coming in here to tell us the building's ready to go?
I wish. I really do wish. Very close. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Basically, I'm here to talk about the WIC sublease contract that we have. Ashley, Deputy County Attorney, brought to my attention when we were looking at the lease that it actually is a lease with the County of Natrona. So you all, because it is a county building, when we agreed to take WIC within our, under our umbrella of services, they do pay for their services and then lease. We were planning to utilize those funds to offset the cost of the increase in utilities, obviously increased cleaning and supplies that we would be doing. In anticipation of that, I think she would like just for you all to be aware of that and see if there was any questions or discussion or concerns.
I have some concerns about that because
Okay.
it is a county building and it is revenue that should be coming back into the general fund, is my understanding of that. And Madam Clerk, if you have any other opinion about that, I would be more than welcome to listen to it. But that's my understanding, is that when we lease stuff out, that it goes back into the general.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, that would be my understanding as well, unless there was another arrangement made by the board.
Okay. Any other questions or anything? Anything else?
And it's going to be interesting to figure out how to make all the bills match.
How
We'll figure
is,
it out.
since you're here, how is everything coming along? I know we had the tour not too long ago, and
Yeah.
looks like everything is moving along fairly well.
Very well.
I assume still on schedule.
That's very much still on schedule, yes.
Good. So I know you're looking forward to getting out of the old building and into the new one.
Yes, we brought WIC into our service, so we added 6 more people and their supplies into the existing building, so
Okay.
it'll be, it's fun.
are, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Commissioner Milne.
Yes, can you, for the meeting and all that, can you
Yes.
run through, what are your ideas, what are your plans, what were you, why or what were you thinking of about, with all this? I mean, kind of give,
The
you
agreement.
kind of sat down and we
Yep.
went, no, so kind of give us a little bit more than that. if you can.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we were approached in conjunction with asking about bringing WIC into our services. Two other counties currently have that in Teton County as well as Cheyenne-Laramie County did bring WIC into their offerings. When that occurs, they do provide the funding for all of the staffing, equipment, everything like that, so much so that they actually have Visionary provide their phone services. The state provides their IT. We do get an 8% indirect for salaries, and that is it. And then there is the lease. So that lease is then through the Department of Health Administration and Information. Initially, we thought that it was through us, being that we're taking WIC in with us. And then with further discussion with Deputy Attorney, we recognize that it does need to be through Natrona County. With that, so you'll see right now, currently, and we actually went about it very carefully and diligently. We utilized MOA to do a very standardized way of looking at like those areas that are strictly used by WIC, those that are common spaces, those that are community spaces, restrooms, break rooms, those kinds of things. It's called BOMA, but don't ask me what the acronym stands for. So we actually looked at all of those things in both the existing building as well as in the new build to get an idea. When they came to us, they said that they would pay $17 per square foot, and we disagreed with that, stating that it was a new building and that did not seem adequate because the going rate according to BOMA was at $21. They would then agree to do 19. So currently we have a contract that is covering the 475 South Spruce location, which is their equivalent of what they're utilizing is 2,511 square feet of the office space. And that amount of funding would then be not to exceed 23,854, which takes us to the end of the year. And then a new contract will be drawn up in the beginning of the year. So it was our hope that we would be able to use those funds to offset. Obviously, we know that we're going to have an increase in, utilities, power, all of those things. We have met with MOA and talked to them about what the utility cost projections are. They're looking at what they came through with all of the, energy efficiency, the automation, the light controls, etc. There would be $1.35 to $1.40 approximately per square foot per month. We did allot utilities in our existing budget, but we did not increase it to this current year to cover, about what that would cost for the new fiscal year starting in January, or the move date into January. So 6 months would be, our existing building and what its utilities run, not knowing truly what we're facing when we're going into the new building. We do pay for our own cleaning and our own supplies that go along with that. So those were the funds that we were looking at. That we're talking approximately 50,000 would be what it would be for this year's program of January through December, which would help offset those increases that we would see per month. So now my ideas are, I'm not sure, and I think then it just causes us to remove some funding from services in order to pay for the expected expenses that we'll see with the new building. So, I mean, it is absolutely 100% your building, and, we just know that in order to have WIC in our umbrella, it doesn't make sense to pay rent for another space for them to be located. We're hoping to serve more people. We're also overseeing all of the HR employee kinds of things of those employees. So literally we grew by 6 people 2 weeks ago. So.
Yeah. Are you planning on eventually having them move into the new building with you guys or?
Yes, they are now our employees and will move in the new building. We brought them into the existing building so that they could start to recognize our staff, kind of get that relationship figured out. So when we move into the new building, it's not an increased stressor that we're all going in at the same time. We're not moving in and then bringing them into the situation, like we're all going into it together. So it's more of a, just preparing for all situations to make the best move in, but they are now county employees. Well, our employees, city, county.
Okay. Don't, you said unless we have other agreements or whatever, or make some kind of agreement, don't we have some things, other places with outside boards that do similar with contracts with the state? I can't remember, or outside entities.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Milne, are you speaking of child support enforcement and drug court? What, I guess I'm not following your question.
Something similar to that. I mean, there's nothing stopping us from diverting those funds from general and moving them to the health department to offset, is there?
Mr. Chairman, not that I'm aware of, I guess that could be a question for the treasurer as well. However, I feel this could have been talked about during budget time, and with Anna saying, or making the statement that the increase in utilities and all that wasn't budgeted for in this current fiscal, that's a little problematic in my mind. But, again, it's the commissioner's building, it's your money, and one way or the other, it's going to be a budgetary impact if it's more utilities costs, building costs, that sort of thing, whether she comes to us next fiscal for more money. I mean, I think maybe we should have had previous conversations about what her wishes were and what our intents were, and,
So-
our purposes were to get this hammered out prior to.
Right, I agree with you. I think you should have came with it just a little bit more early. But, hold on. In the end, we're gonna end up paying for this one way or the other. Now, the contract's gonna be with the county. So it'd go into the general fund, and whether we spend the money, whether it goes through us or through you, it's money that's gonna be spent on utilities or whatever anyways. So I don't really see, I guess I'm confused to if there's any problem.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Anna.
So just to clarify, we do have the funding to pay for the utilities moving forward. That's why we have such an incredibly tight budget. So just to clarify that, the way I stated it was not the best use of my words. So I apologize for that. Secondly, this has been a project in the works since March. We did not finalize everything until well after the budget time had come and gone. We didn't even know at that time if we were truly going to bring WIC in. I think I may have alluded to it when we had our budget meeting. And then when talking with legal, that's where it was discovered that really technically it should come through you all. So my apologies for not coming to you sooner. I did not recognize that this would be an issue.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I think you're doing a good job. Budgets can be amended. We're gonna pay the bills, so please don't lose any sleep over it.
There's plenty of things to lose sleep about, so.
But we would like to handle it in the budget sessions and stuff. Sometimes it's not possible with construction and everything going on. I can see the issue, but we have a great county clerk. She knows how to handle money.
Absolutely. And we will abide by whatever the best is intended by all means.
Commissioner Coach.
Madam Clerk, was the $50,000 roughly, was that accounted for in revenue?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Coates, not to my knowledge, no.
So no matter what, with this revenue that's gonna potentially be coming into the county, we'll have to look at that anyway in our budget.
That would be correct. That'd basically be unanticipated revenue, which would be on our books for next fiscal, correct?
Well, and right along with this, and now I don't mean to put fire, but the increase and our insurance cost has gone up dramatically, about $70,000, if I remember right, from where you're at now to where it is. So I'm not saying it's important, not important, but I do think that the county will keep it covered one way or another. So I just want to make sure that, you know, that we're doing things that we're supposed to, and I do think this is something that needs to be discussed in the overall budget. So,
This truly just came to be in agreement in the last couple of weeks, so. It's
I understand that.
not become real until then.
Mr. Chairman, and just for Anna's sake and the board, I mean, going forward, we all are gonna recognize that she's gonna have increased budget requests for next fiscal partly due to this
Right.
situation and whatnot, so, you know, I'm not trying to downplay that by any means, and, you know, I'm not trying to get on anybody's case about that, but it's just, you know, timing, and if you have concerns about reporting or tracking, anything like that, you know, if we come across bridges that we can't necessarily cross without a lot of issues, then maybe we can relook at this again. But, you know, I'm always there for any help that you need, okay?
Thank you.
She's really good to work with most of the time.
I do spend a lot of time working with her right now, it seems.
I spent a lot more time with Tracy this spring trying to figure out where we were going to be than either one of us had anticipated. So, but anyway, all right. Okay. Lita, did you have,
I did, thank you.
okay.
Commissioners, I wanted to clarify one thing you said, maybe I heard it wrong. Who is the lease between?
It is actually through Natrona County, so the Natrona County is the sole owner of the property described below and allows lessor to use the property for government business purposes. So
Maybe I don't have the updated one. I just wanted to double check.
actually, just provided the red line version and we sent it to the state.
Okay,
So I can provide that for you.
sure.
Technically, then we need to undo the agreement and have you all sign it. Yep.
Well, and I think we need to make it clear in there. I don't remember, and I'm just looking at it where the money goes. You know, it goes to the county versus the health department. So we might need to work on that before it goes for them to sign.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Memorial Hospital. Please come up.
Good morning.
Afternoon. It's morning somewhere.
Robert Lynn. On your agenda, I'm Bob Kaiser, who's the chairman of the board of MHCC plus Summit. And this is Matt Dameyer, who is the CEO of both Summit Medical Center and Memorial Hospital, Converse County. I wanted to make just a few opening comments, and Mr. Chairman, I appreciate, and the commissioners in discussing this, and I want to leave a lot of time for questions, so my introductory comments will be brief, and Matt will have a few also. Just, first of all, we have two other board members here. Nick Linford lives in Glen Rock, and he works for Hilltop National Bank, and he's a branch manager here in Casper. He's a graduate of the University of Wyoming, and he is one of the finance people on our board. Rhonda Diltz is born and raised here. She came off of the Diltz Ranch, which is north of Douglas. She was a school teacher for many years here. She retired. And she's the kind of person that if you want something done, you get Rhonda to do it. And she's also a graduate of the University of Wyoming. We have two that are not here. Bobby Fitzhugh, again, a graduate of the University of Wyoming, lifelong member of the community. She was the city manager of Douglas for many years, and that's been very helpful to us in our relationships with the city. She is on the Fitzhugh Ranch, which is one of the oldest ranches in Converse County. It was established in 1874, 16 years before we were a state. And they raise some of the finest red Angus cattle in the state. Dr. Kyle Sokol isn't here. He was, well, he made it. This is, Dr. Sokol did not have the advantage of a graduation from the University of Wyoming. However, he went through all of his medical training in the U.S. Army. And he did the medical school, his residencies, and he and his partner are two of the best robotic surgeons in a 4 or 5 state area. They are the kind of people that Intuit, who runs the robotic surgeons or surgery equipment, they teach the teachers. And I think they're an idea of the quality of the physicians we have. Now, he's not a graduate of the University of Wyoming, but he married a Peckinpah off the Peckinpah Ranch down in Orange Junction. And so sort of by marriage, we've granted him the extension of being a UW graduate. You might think that you have to be a UW graduate to qualify for the board, and that's not the case at all. But the reason I bring it up is that this is really an example of local control and community people that are unpaid and that are dedicated to improving healthcare, not only in Converse County, but elsewhere. Matt Danmeyer is a UW graduate. He met his wife at UW. He has both a master's and PhD from the University of Wyoming, as does his wife. They have 6 children. He has a lot of experience as a hospital administrator, and he's really made a difference. He does a superb job in recruiting physicians, and that's one of the key functions that contributes to the success of a hospital. People are very sensitive to the quality of your physicians. I have somewhat less wonderful background, but I'm also a graduate of the University of Wyoming. I met my wife there 60-some years ago. Graduated in 1962. I got hired by Texaco, which you might remember the 61-62 recession. There were very few jobs. And that was my start in the oil industry. I came back to Wyoming in 1994 to our family ranch, the Spur Ranch, down on Labonte Creek, where I ranch with my youngest son. So the point of this is that we're Wyoming people. We understand the state, we understand the people. You're not talking to suits that came in from a system hospital in some other urban center. Just a couple of things that might not be in the blue book that Tracy distributed to everybody. Just a real quick review of the Summit history. The Summit building was built and financed by a group of physicians that wanted an alternative to Wyoming Medical Center. Fundamentally orthopedic surgeons, but other physicians also. They were not able to raise enough money from the physician community here, so they went out and got some speculative investors, and they got a venture capital group to invest in it. And so at that point, they had maybe 20 plus investors of different kinds with different intentions. They were having some financial difficulties, and a venture capitalist came in and purchased the business. And he invested modestly in it to get it going. He covered some of the debts that they had occurred, and he was interested in selling the business. And he came to us and asked if we wouldn't be interested in purchasing the business. And we'd already purchased Western Medical Associates, Dr. Santiago's business, and several others in Natrona County. So we had a presence here, and we liked the hospital very much. It's a good surgical hospital. It's a great facility. And so we, with some difficulty, again, made a deal. But we were not able to buy the building at that time. And that's the subject of what we're doing here. It's taken us a long time to come up with an agreed upon price. And we have finally done that, and we now have a valid purchase and sale agreement to purchase the building at $29.2 million. And so then what we'd like to do is get that done. We have a history of doing revenue bonds before. We did 2 in Converse County. The first one we did was to build a major wing onto the hospital there, and we doubled our surgical capacity, put in a number of other services that we needed. The second one that we did was to build a medical office building, a greenfield site 2 or 3 blocks from the hospital. We paid those bonds off at the earliest call date, and so they're retired, and we have no long-term bonded indebtedness in that hospital. One of the questions that I've been asked, and I've been through this several times, well, who are the buyers of these bonds? And I think that's a legitimate question because they're non-recourse. They're guaranteed only by the revenues from the hospital. So the buyers are typically insurance companies who are matching the term of the bonds to the future claims that they're going to pay out of their premiums. So they invest their premiums 20 years and so forth. So they're really hedging their claims. Tax-free municipal funds are the other ones that buy these bonds. And the second offering that we did was Merrill Lynch, and they took the medical office building bonds, put them into a bond fund of maybe several hundred bonds. And the third are professional money managers. And the point of this is that we're not selling this to widows and orphans. This is sophisticated investors that go through the underwriting statement. They know exactly what the risks are, but what they're looking for is tax-free income, and that's what this qualifies as. I think another legitimate question, are we capable of paying off the bonds? Our lease, which we inherited when we bought the business, that is actually more than the bond payments will be. We will save money by refinancing this under the bonds. Summit Medical Center as well as MHCC are profitable hospital businesses. We don't want to brag about that, but in the realm of hospitals, very few hospitals, especially in rural areas, are making money. So those are some of the questions that weren't in the blue book. And I'd like to have Matt make a few of his comments.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thanks for taking the time to hear us today. Again, you have a ton of information already provided to you in the blue folder. I'm just going to make a couple comments. To me, this project is really about 2 things: access to healthcare and quality of healthcare. So, you know, all of you are aware of the fact that even in a small population state like Wyoming, corporate hospitals and the private sector have a huge impact on the type of care that we receive, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've spent a lot of time myself in the private sector, and you know, I have a lot of respect for my for-profit and not-for-profit corporate partners out in medicine, friends in lots of different systems. But I don't think there's any debate that those systems operate really around economic models. That's what they do. They're focused on economic models. And because our ownership is by the people, it gives us some flexibility that those systems don't have. You know, a recent example of this actually is Uinta County. I'm sure many of you saw that the hospital there, which is owned by a for-profit healthcare system, very rigorously run system, profitable hospital, but they decided that, hey, obstetrics it's just not profitable. And so they eliminated obstetrics, you know, from Uinta County, which was bad for the people that lived there, but also even South Lincoln County, which had already lost their obstetrics on the southern portion of that county. You know, the decisions are not made because there's a need or there isn't a need. The decisions are made for economics. And again, I think that, you know, because of our ownership structure being different, it gives us more flexibility. So that's why we provide a huge amount of the primary care in this county, Converse County, Platte County. That's why we're able to provide services that really service the Medicare population, the 65 and older population. That's why we do, we have the bulk of the endocrine business. Those are, again, parts of medicine that people don't want. Recently we saw a lot of movement around obstetrics even in Natrona County. So again, we have to make money. Bob talked about that, but our mission is a little bit different. We answer to the masses, to the people that we serve. So I think access is kind of the first thing I would focus on. And the other one is quality. Again, when you're in models where, there's tight rein around the economics, you have to look for ways to bring home the highest shares you can, or, revenue you can for the people that are owners of your company. Our situation, we're able to go out, and I feel like kind of our unique niche is that we're very aggressive about recruiting physicians, and that's why we're putting physicians in positions, and even specialties. We're getting ready to put a specialty in Wyoming that no one has, and they're very, very difficult to get. So that's again, our job is to try to elevate the bar. I actually, you may doubt me on this, but I actually say all the time that anytime our competitors do well, that is good for us because it's raising the bar. And I'm sure all of you have been consumers of healthcare. Healthcare is expensive. It's personal. We need the very best we can. And Natrona County is not just for Natrona County from my perspective. There's 7 counties that are feeding it. There's over 200,000 people, in my opinion, that are counting on Natrona County to have good access, good choice, and high quality. And we think we can, by inviting you into this discussion, there's no risk to the taxpayer. This is just stimulating more opportunity for healthcare infrastructure to grow in this county. So with that, we wanted to keep it to, like Bob said earlier, we just wanted to give you the sort of the highlights. And Mr. Chairman, if you have any questions or the group has questions, we'd be happy to answer them if you'd like, or try.
I'll approach the elephant in the room. What happens if you don't get this bond?
I was a military explosives guy, and no
Ah.
pun intended, but my hearing is shot. And by the way, I'm the old grandfather.
Yep,
Everybody has to
yep,
come up
yep.
and yell in there.
Hearing device.
Yes, we do.
Get it for you.
Yeah.
Well,
No, we have a thing that.
no, I'm
makes it-
okay. I've got
Okay,
hearing aids. That,
okay.
pretty ready to the best.
well, I-
But go ahead. I'm sorry, but
Not mumble there, Dave.
All right, I'll speak up. I'll be a
sometimes I
little
look a
louder.
little, out of it, but that's because
Yeah.
I didn't hear. But thank you.
Elephant in the room, what happens if you don't get the bond? Are you gonna maintain currently, or what direction are you gonna go?
Well, we will look at bank financing as the next, and that's at a substantially higher interest rate. Right now, on the bonds, we're somewhere in the 5.7, 5.8, 5.9, but the bond market is pretty volatile right now. We won't know the interest rate until we have the offering statement and our underwriter goes into the market. And for instance, if there are different tranches of bonds, what are the interest rates on those? But the difference from, say, 5.8%, you're looking at a 7.5% with ordinary bank financing, and you're looking at a 20% down payment. And in our world, we charge an imputed interest on the cash we put in. And so we consider the 20% plus the 80% as one block of money. The difference between the bond financing and say continuing the lease for 20 years is $10 million. So it's an enormous difference. I have a schedule of the others, but we're a hospital. We're very sensitive to costs. We want to keep this as close and less than the lease payments. By the way, one of the problems with the lease, as you guys understand, is that you're not going to put money into a lease to expand the building and add services to it because you never own the building. an analogy is not a very good one, is who washes a rental car? Well, at the same token, we're not going to invest $10 million into the building if we don't own it. So the direct question is, if this doesn't go, then I think we have some hard work to do. We will negotiate with banks, we will look at other financing, but it's all going to be at a 7% plus rate.
Okay.
Gentlemen,
Commissioner Coates?
so a couple questions for you. So first one is, why would Natrona County seek to support bonding to strengthen the competing hospital system?
I'm not,
Why would we support bonding to compete with our existing hospital system here? I know you said that
Yeah.
expansive services, but please elaborate.
a couple things. First of all, we think Wyoming Medical Center performs an essential role in this greater area. Classically, they were a tertiary referral hospital, and that's their strength. They don't invest in primary care. They don't need to, but they're reluctant to employ, say, primary care physicians. The secondary types of things, ordinary orthopedic surgery, ordinary surgery, they'll dabble in that, but if you look at the Casper market, orthopedic surgery is not supported by employed docs at Wyoming Medical Center. It's an interesting conundrum. We compete in some areas with Wyoming Medical Center. We also compete with the Cheyenne Hospital. We compete with Billings Clinic. We compete with Intermountain in Salt Lake City. It's surprising how competitive the market is. What we want is to see a very well-run Wyoming Medical Center. We would like to see them get back into their cardiac surgery. I'd like to see them have 2 resident cardiac surgeons. They're going to do things that we never will do. We're not doing brain surgery, and we're never going to do brain surgery, for example. And I could go on. But as far as it's an extended community, as far as the community is concerned, we need a well-run Wyoming Medical Center. Our hospital and our patient base, we refer, I don't have an exact number, but somewhere around $10 million a year in referral business to Wyoming Medical Center. And they rely on that from all of the surrounding areas. So we're mildly competitive, but we're also a customer of theirs. Our patients are. We want to see them do well. They're just part of it. In the past, I tried to work with Wyoming Medical Center on several things, and it's not worth the details, but I never could get a response. Just one quick, our orthopedic surgery, the mining companies are sending their orthopedic surgery to the Front Range of the Rockies where they get managed care prices. I made a proposal to Wyoming Medical Center, let's capture that market back. And here's how we do it. And I went through the antitrust aspects of it, and you can cooperate and not violate antitrust, and they just didn't want to do it. We had a similar thing on OB just recently. We plan to continue to work with Wyoming Medical Center. We want to be a good partner with them. We don't have any particular axe to grind. But yes, we will compete in some areas. But let's go back to what you started the question is, why should we put up $34 million to create a competitor? Well, you might look at what our county commissioners looked at some years ago. We were really kind of a podunk hospital. When I joined the board, we did $6 million a year. We're now doing $330 million a year, an enormous increase. We had 4 providers. We now have 65 providers. So the commissioners first issued revenue bonds to expand the hospital so we would have an outpatient surgical center. We doubled our surgery capacity. The second thing they did was the medical office building. So we raised nearly $20 million. And what was the return to the county on that? Right now, Converse County is the 13th largest county in Wyoming from a population standpoint, but our contribution to the county is the fourth, $190 million a year. So at a zero cost to the taxpayers or the residents of the county, we built the infrastructure that allowed us to expand. And that, the money we've raised, that we've invested here, we've invested $26 million in Natrona County. And we plan to continue that. But the highest return on investment you're ever going to see is to issue revenue bonds, which are not an obligation of the county, which bondholders from elsewhere in the country are putting up the money. We take that money and we invest it, and the return on that investment should be a lot for you. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll leave this with you. This is a study that was done by University of Wyoming and someone called WHA in 2003, and we had no role in this. But this map shows all the counties and the contribution of the hospitals of that county. Here's Converse County at $194 million. Here's Natrona at $304 million. So we're almost, say, 60% of what Natrona County is doing with 8 providers. We have 2 providers. We have a small nursing home and a hospital. Give that to Tracy.
So one follow-up to that, and then I'll yield over. So, kind of falling down the same line. So Natrona County gets, this commission quite often gets questions about the oversight of our hospital, the services of our hospital, the primary care aspects of our hospital. So I understand that you're seeking to fill that role. Given that, because this county has no oversight, responsibility, or authority of MHCC, why would this board support bonding?
You know, that's another, first of all, the county commissioners in Converse County also have very minimal oversight of the hospital. They, if you look at 18.8.104, they have 2 roles to play. That's to appoint or get rid of board members. The second one is to approve the annual budget. You should talk to our commissioners about how we work with them. Every month, we have a lunch meeting off the record, but it's sort of off the record with the commissioners. We give them a free lunch and they all show up. So, but in that, we have informal discussion. For example, what we're doing here, they're fully informed on. But what they don't have is a statutory authority to go in and micromanage the hospital. Now, that's been done in other counties in Wyoming, and it's not been successful for the healthcare in those hospitals. At some point, you've got to trust the hospital boards to do their job. Now, we're highly regulated. We're a, CMS, the Center for Medicaid and Medical Services, regulates us. We're a joint commission hospital, so we have to comply with joint commission. We have, rigorous quality programs, et cetera. But you're not going to have a sort of a statutory role in the oversight of the hospital. And I can't change that. What you do have is the ability to talk to the board or to any member of the board anytime you want and say, here's our concern. And when that happens, we're responsive. There's
So
no.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Al. Excuse me.
Commissioner
A
Blair.
couple of questions. First of all, I like doing business with Wyoming people. Lawyer, I've done a lot of legal work for the people in Converse County, so none of that bothers me one bit. I'm a Wyoming guy. Now, if you're here with a hospital that's gonna help Natrona County people, I'm interested to be involved in that and to see what this commission may be able to do legally. We don't have a bond counsel, so I can't ask any questions where I would expect the answers to come from you gentlemen on the kind of questions I would like to ask about bonding. But the thing we look at as commissioners is, so if we engage ourselves in bonding, how do we protect ourselves? So we have to do that. We're bound by law to do that. We can't, I don't want to run any hospitals. Is there anybody on here knows how to run a hospital? I was on the Memorial Hospital Board in the late 80s and early 90s. And that was the most confusing board job I ever had.
Yeah, it's a complex task.
And so I made a lot of friends with doctors, and we had some good doctors that knew what they were doing and knew how to run a hospital. Now we have Banner, which is an Arizona corporation. We do have a lot of good Wyoming people working there. So now what I would like to know, what your figures are, is how this helps Natrona County. Can you tell us the percentage of patients from Natrona County that use your hospital? Now, I know people who work up there. You have some good people working up there.
Mhm.
I knew the guys who built the place. I know a lot about that hospital, why it was built, and the politics involved in it, and the Wyoming people that are working there. So, truthfully, I'm positive towards your proposition. With the situation where our money is protected, we can't afford to lose $34 million of taxpayers' money, or say down the line in 3 years, well, God, their board won't tell us anything. You know, there's only one commissioner here that voted to sell the hospital to Banner, and if I would have been on the board, I wouldn't have sold it to Banner, personally. A couple of them wouldn't either. Now I'm looking at you guys. I don't really know you guys any better than I knew the Banner people. They're all good people. They're all smart people. So my concern here is, it'd be like anything. If somebody wants to borrow money from me, if it's a relative, I know I'll never get it back. If it's somebody that says they'll pay me back, they never pay me back. And so, but when it comes to public money, I gotta have some sort of a insurance policy there, so that we know we have taken care and made due diligence with what we do with taxpayer money.
Look,
get
I
my
understand. I'd
picture?
like to do two things. First, I'd like to answer your question on your concern about losing money and paying it back. Rick Thompson, who's with Hathaway and Coons in Cheyenne, is our bond counsel. And he's done, I'd say 50 of these, I don't know how many, but if you read his opinion, there is absolutely zero obligation on the part of Natrona County or in Converse County to the repayment of these bonds. The bonds by statute are secured only by the net revenues of the hospital. And
So tell us what you want from us precisely.
okay,
In like
well,
one sentence.
I think, well, obviously, we'd like you to issue hospital revenue bonds. These are very much like industrial revenue bonds, and I don't know if you guys have issued industrial revenue bonds, but they're the same tax treatment. They're tax-free bonds, but
It's our liability. We issue the bonds.
you have it's very clear in the disclosure statements that there is no recourse to the county, to the people of the county, at all. In fact, on the first page of this blue book, I'll read it because it's very important. This is a disclosure statement, but Rick Thompson's 5-page opinion is really worth looking at. But each line here and each word is important. The bonds do not constitute a debt or indebtedness of the county or state within the meaning of any constitutional or statutory provision or limitation, and are not general obligations of the county or the state. And no owner of any bond may look to any source of funds other than the hospital net pledged revenues for payment of debt service on the bonds. There's legal, I don't think it's ever been challenged successfully because you have informed buyers. There's a disclosure statement that's this thick. It has 10 pages of risk factors in it.
That doesn't do it for me. What does it for me is the small amount you read. I would need to see in writing what our liability is if we agree to do this with you.
Well, okay,
And how it benefits us.
well, let's talk about the benefits. Dallas, I'm going to refer you to, I'm not an attorney. I've been accused of practicing, but Rick Thompson's opinion is thorough, and he's done a number of these offerings.
Have him send me a signed opinion so I can read it.
Have you not seen
Signed?
this? Sure, I'll give it to you right now.
You were given it.
Let me see it.
This is really the key. But let me talk about something else. And at the risk
So I
of,
know his deceased partners here, Hathaway and Coons. Mr. Coons and I graduated from law school together.
did you go to Wyoming Law School?
I did.
Well, Mike Sullivan and I've known Mike Sullivan since I was
He's a good friend of mine.
17 years old. By the way, if you want a reference on me, you might talk to Mike.
I'll check you out.
Yeah.
And
He,
Mike Sullivan's a guy that I deal with quite frequently. He's telling me we're running out of
okay,
time.
but just
I
one quick
consider
thing, and this is a
important.
little grandiose.
Just a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
I like Wyoming people. I like what you're doing with this hospital. I think you have a right to have this hospital in this county and to do the best you can with it. We don't pick sides between hospitals. Wyoming people-owned hospital and a Wyoming-run hospital impresses me, period. I'm gonna read this. I may call, who is it that issued this opinion?
Rick Thompson, he's,
Because our county attorney there, does she have a copy of it?
and let me tell you what's possible here. Indulge me in a little bit of grandiose. Look what we've done at Converse County. When I started, we had 4 providers. We had 3 doctors and 1 mid-level. We have 65 providers now. We made $6 million a year in gross revenues. We're 300 and some million now. Now, our vision for this is a multi-county area. We think that Natrona County can become a medical center for advanced care of various types. You have back here one of the
Like
best
that.
robotic surgeons anywhere.
Now you gotta understand, if I go in to buy a car and the guy oversells me, I end up not buying the car.
Well, there's a
We're
risk
getting
in
to
that.
To that point, I believe what you said, and I understand a lot more about the hospital, I think, than some people do.
No.
And I do wanna read this.
Yeah, Joe,
Read that,
Milton
but
tap in his hands.
what we're
He's the
at-
one
give
that
us
sold
a
the hospital
chance.
Banner.
give us a
So he
chance
has
to do for
got an issue
us.
there.
Commissioner.
Thank you. Dallas is right. I was one of the commissioners that sold the hospital. He thinks it embarrasses me. It doesn't. I would have done the same damn thing at the time now with the same information. So there you go. It does not embarrass me.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what
actually
the
pretty
football-
proud of
That's
it.
what the football
Just-
coach said in Wyoming that kicked all. the
So
hospitals.
Converse County gives you $4.58 million basically for that hospital district. That was the budget this year, I believe, for the hospital district. Now, that may not be in Casper, but that's the hospital district overall in
Yeah.
budget.
I can tell you how that's spent, yes.
Okay, so I've got a couple of questions and then we'll get to the crust of my bugaboo. The foundation, or do you have does the foundation, or is it is there a Converse County Board, hospital board?
Well, we're a
Gives
memorial
guidance.
hospital, so the county commissioners appoint a 5-member board in staggered terms and so forth.
To the foundation or to a board?
The foundation is they raise money for charitable purposes, so the people contributing to the foundation get a tax deduction. They're not a
Trying to talk here,
significant,
Nate, Dallas.
they're not a significant part of of our income. And by the way, neither is the $4.6 million that you mentioned, and I can tell you how that's allocated and where it comes from.
I'd love to see
Okay.
that and all that. in
Okay,
the
so
future.
like all hospitals, we have a large amount of what the state constitution calls resident indigent patient care, 188106.
Right.
I know that because I've lost all the cases on it. So we, on a gross basis, we have about $14 million a year of resident indigent patient care. There's people that don't pay for it. Net of that is about $6 million a year. The county commissioners give us a little over $2 million a year as a percentage of the uncompensated care. We took over the ambulance service for the entire county, and our deal with the county commissioners was that they would hold us harmless on the ambulance service. We took it over for, one of the reasons is that we're a critical access hospital. And so for all Medicare patients, we can charge under a cost plus basis. So if half of your people are Medicare patients, that's an advantage. And then the other part of that is the capital cost of an ambulance, and that has gone up to $500,000 per ambulance.
So getting to the crust or portion of this, does Commerce County give Commerce Memorial any money, public funds? Yes or no?
Say that again.
Does Commerce County, the commissioners, give Commerce County Memorial Hospital money?
Yes, $4.6 million. Part of that is repayment of indigent care, part of it is
Right,
the
right.
ambulance cost and so
That-
forth.
So moving forward from that though, being in Natrona County and asking for this pretty outstanding large bond issue, would Natrona County be able to get a couple seats on that board?
No, that's by Wyoming statute, only residents of the county in which the Memorial Hospital is located can serve on the board. Now, we are exploring the sort of thing that Ivinson has done very recently. Actually, Wyoming Medical Center did it when Mike Sullivan was on the board and Chuck Leifert was on the board. They set up a second board. You had the county commissioners appoint one board, and then they leased the hospital to the second board.
Right.
If we would like to do something like that, and we're not there. But what we would like to do is to set up a separate board that would manage both hospitals. And we have to do this in compliance with the state constitution.
Right.
And if you look at the Ivinson experience, they were able to do it.
I'm just seeing public funds coming into and competing with a private business, and that the local government doesn't have any representation to those public funds that are being, it's funds from Commerce County, but they're being utilized in Natrona County, and then the bonding's coming from Natrona County for that improvement and stuff. So I'm just kind of concerned about the point of it being fair for a public tax subsidized entity being in competition with privately owned. Right?
Well, first of all, if Wyoming Medical Center came to you and wanted to issue revenue bonds,
I know,
it'd be
we
exactly
denied
the
it.
same. Well, no, it'd be exactly the same. These are not tax burdens. We keep going over this, but this is not a tax burden on the taxpayers of
No,
this
I know.
county. The management part, I think you have a good point. We are constrained by the state constitution, and we're inescapably constrained by that. We are looking at alternatives, but we're not there.
So can I ask you one more question?
Yeah,
Right?
sure.
So like you said, Banner came before us and asked for this, and it was denied. It was for a whole lot less than what you all are asking for. Why would we approve yours when we denied Banner's?
Because I think we're a better deal. First of all, we
Going
are,
back to what Dallas says, we
Yeah.
don't pick winners or losers. We
I,
need-
I keep repeating myself. I think that what you ought to look at, can you trust these guys from Converse County? what have they done in Converse County?
You know, Jim
Why in the
Willick's
world
right.
why are they world in Natrona County? We don't have to be here. Life would be simpler if we weren't. But we want to be here.
Let me interrupt here.
Thank you.
I am a person, I'm not judging you guys. I think you're good businessmen. I know of you. And I think that your hospital is a boon to this community. And I know the people that are involved in the citizens group that want something done with Banner. And so I think what you're doing is perfectly honorable. Now, the only thing I would want to do is have a bond council take a look at this memo. I know this firm is a very well and highly thought of firm, although all the guys I used to deal with have gone on to their great rewards.
Well, both of us have
So
outlived our
I
friends.
don't want you to leave here thinking that I'm against you or that everybody's against you. Maybe somebody is or isn't, I don't know. We're not gonna take a vote on it today, I don't think, because it needs to be run by our county, through our county attorney and through a bond council. Because if we have no liability, we're not risking the funds of our constituents here in this county. That's very important, because we have other companies that come in here and want to put things into this county, and we get nothing out of it, and we get some liability out of it. These wind turbines and these solar farms and these radiant things, they all want money. They want $25 million of taxpayer money before they even build anything. So to have us approve a bond through this county that could be a very good investment for people, I don't know that. And I can't make the decision today because I'm gonna have to go home and reread this because I only scanned it before the meeting. And the truth is, I wouldn't mind hearing from some of the folks from Converse County that you've got sitting there on your board. They look like pretty darn good people to me. I know one of them that works at the bank, kind of. That lady looks really honest. So, so all I'm
Think
telling
so,
you
too.
guys is that the way I would view this is if it's a good deal for our people here in Natrona County to have a nice hospital where they can get things done and go in there and get taken care of by local doctors. Quite frankly, I'm completely for that.
So back to me.
Commissioner Mill.
Well, I tell you something, this is not a commitment. This gives you a schedule, and this is prepared both by the bond council and then by the underwriters. And what they're suggesting is that whoever you choose to represent the commissioners as bond counsel, they would have a meeting with both the underwriters plus Rick Thompson as bond counsel, the two of us, and any commissioners or whomever want to sit in. It'd be a Zoom meeting. And that schedule is this right here. And this is provided by Stifel, who is the underwriting firm. They do this routinely all the time. And once, I'll give this to you guys.
Office here in town?
It's the Denver office, but I contacted through the Stifel, Kevin Murphy and his son Grant, and I've known them for a long, long time.
Sir, I think
Yeah.
it may help me a little bit if I can get some of that budgetary questions that I had
Yeah.
for the last couple of years, just to see where things are and how much is being expended here in Natrona County. That really helped my brain on supporting this. I'm not against this. Don't take it like that. Or bonding or anything like that. I've got some questions. I want to know how this is fair to Banner as well as to you all. And so if I can see that information, that may help me, okay?
Well, Banner is a much larger hospital.
And they ask for much less.
Pardon?
And they ask for much less on their bonding that we denied.
You know, I have no idea what they were asking it for. Ours is simple. We want to buy the building so that we can expand it. We want to add services just as we have in Converse County. And this is the best opportunity for us to economically acquire the building. You know, if we had to, we can go out and get a bank mortgage, but it's gonna cost us roughly, something like $10 million more, just because of the much higher interest rate over 20 years. So, I understand the dilemma that you fellows see.
It'd been a whole lot easier if we approved banners, because then we could just approve
what?
yours. Would have been a lot easier if we approved banners, because then it wouldn't be seeming to be discriminatory or anything like that. But, yeah, I'd love to see that information. We can still maybe.
Well,
approve it, right?
Gentlemen,
We can show you the
we're
financials.
running behind schedule today.
But
And
I tell you what, let me leave with Tracy, or
Yes.
if you don't mind me
And if you-
approaching the
and if-
bench.
yes, and if you would get that information,
And
so
what
we
this
can all
gives-
take a look at it, we would all greatly appreciate it. I know we would. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm
No,
just,
no,
but
the next step though is, it's sort of like a letter of intent, and they call it an inducement resolution, which is non-binding. The final, when the final bonds are priced and ready to be sold, then the commissioners have the final say. But I will pass this, I'll give this to Tracy, you guys can look at it. Once you
Ultimately,
get
we
involved-
would need a lawyer that's competent in bond counseling to look at it, and our county attorney to
Right.
review it with that person before we'd ever make the decision.
but
Absolutely.
I do appreciate you guys coming in
Okay,
and getting
that's-
this information to
scheduled,
us. I really do. So,
proposed schedule is
And I do appreciate you all coming in.
so,
And the reason Banner hasn't done a lot of things is they bought the hospital so cheap, you'd be shocked.
We're not,
But I don't want to pit you against Banner. They're hopefully they're doing the best they can now. But I would really like to see another hospital and see it run by Wyoming consortium and Wyoming people. And so
Well,
you're doing if
competition
you're doing
generally
our
in-
people in this county a good job and they're seeing you and they like you, which that's what they're telling me. That's what I really like here.
we have a couple hundred employees in Natrona County.
Yeah.
We're committed, we're not dilettantes that just stuck our toe
You're
in the
not
water.
from, I know you're not from Arizona. I know that.
all right.
Okay, you've been
Thank-
very patient.
Thank you. I appreciate you
Thank
guys
you for
coming
the
in.
time.
So, you bet.
But I will leave this, if you look at this,
Yep.
by the
Just
way,
leave-
once you get
leave-
into the
leave it with-
process,
Leave it with Tracy or
it
Michelle.
kind
and
of
then
drives
get it to
itself. It's
us.
like you're in a machine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tammy, would you mind coming up next?
They want to know this by.
Okay,
Hello?
we had some question in reference to the, tax base for county fire. And I know we've had several conversations, and I know you've had several conversations with Brian and some of the others, and if you would just enlighten us at this
Okay.
point in time as far as what the accurate number is that we need to make sure that we have on that, tonight, I would appreciate it.
Okay. The amount that Natrona County Fire District should be approved for is $2,004,429.
Okay. All right. We have some of the board members in the back. Jerry, did you have any questions about any of that, or would you like to?
I had Lita print out, or I printed out for her to give you guys some papers. Then I also found the resolution where it doesn't include the city of Casper and excuse
The
me.
municipality, the
Yes.
incorporated
Yes.
areas within the state?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I have that. You don't have that, but I just found it.
Okay, Okay, so you want to go over real quick how you came up with the numbers? Just so we have it on the record.
Are you talking on the 2 million?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so, I pulled an abstract summary report for Natrona County Fire Protection. Which if you add the real assessed and the personal assessed minus the exemptions, that came out to 668,374,849 minus the exemptions, which is 231,757. The valuation of 668,143,092 times the 3 mils that they get comes to the 2,004,429.
Gary,
And I think we had enough copies. I can also give them
okay.
copies.
Do you
of it,
guys have any question about any of that stuff? I just wanted to make sure that the numbers, that we went through everything and that. Okay.
No, I appreciate it
It's
too.
just, yeah, it's,
Come on.
it's not a big deal. It's just business between all of us, and this is a busy season in the fire season world. So as we go over our budget, we look and it come out in the paperwork that we're supposed to get 4.3 million. And we'll get questions from all the employees. We get questions from the other directors on there like, where's the other 2 million? Brian and I are looking at each other. Well, it was always, so then it came out again. And now after him and Tammy talked, it's pretty clear how we're getting our funds.
Yeah.
And if we can just keep that open line of communication with you, your office, and the county treasurer, this has led up to like 2 months of trying to call and email, first of all with Tom, never could get a hold of him, and couldn't get anything back till it got to this point. I contacted Chairman North and I said, could you please look into this for us? You know, we don't know if we're gonna, you know, just an explanation of what's going, because people are asking us questions all the time. And if you're on a board, and especially if you're the vice chairman, or treasurer, you gotta be able to answer questions. Well, I don't know, you know, you can't answer that way. So now, I mean, luckily, we didn't budget on that 4.3 million. We budgeted on the 2 million. And so it's always tight in the county anyway. But what's going on right now is, of course, the city, they get a 6%, they get a 10%, and then Mills gets a 6%, Evansville. And these guys all work together. The fire service all in one. We're with different agencies, but they all work together. So our guys, we're losing a lot of our guys going to the city. And so we've been trying to hire one of our places for the cabins. It's retired for like 2 months now. We can't even get anybody because the starting salary is like $15 a month for an oncoming firefighter with the county. So of course they're going to do that job. They jump to the city. And that's what we're running up against. So we're just trying to figure out a way to maybe get more funds. I think it's probably going to be to go to the legislature, see if we can get more mills, you know. And I mean, I don't have to tell you, the fire business is busy right now. We're getting contacted by Fremont County, Commerce County, everybody, and we're all spread thin. But
Right.
money's tight throughout the state.
Yep.
I understand that as a business person, but I do thank you guys for listening to us. And I want to really thank you. We got to the bottom of this deal. Brian and I have been working on this for 2 months back and forth, but we couldn't get any answers, you know? And I'm not really
I've been
saying
on
it's
the
your
phone all
fault.
day,
I just want to
so-
have,
Well, the questions that you had were the same questions I had when I saw those numbers. It was like, wait a minute, how do we have this much discrepancy? And, you know, and I'm glad that we came to a resolution where we actually understand what it is and why.
and we do.
But
And
those
we can, now we
differences
can
are-
answer all those questions to the people, the farmers and ranchers that come out there, because we have 2 significant ranchers on the board, and they want to know, I mean, those guys, they run a tight budget, they have to.
Yeah.
The way they live, you know, and they want to know the answers to that. Where's this other money going? It's like, well, we're trying to get to the bottom of it. Now we have a board meeting tomorrow night. We'll be able to, the 3 of us will be able to explain that.
Yeah. No, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate Tammy.
Yeah, thank you,
this and
Tammy.
giving me the answers, giving us
Right,
the
and I
answers that
went
we
through
need.
and double checked even these with people at the department. just to make sure that I was understanding it correctly, and even though everybody's kind of scattered throughout the state
Yeah.
this week, I was able to pull every single district and go through and make sure that what's in our system is correct and that each entity is getting their share of the mills out of each portion that they're incorporated into.
Yep. No, I appreciate it. And hopefully, Jerry, that
They're the ones.
gives you guys the
That
answer
does.
that we're
Give us some
looking for.
clarification on
So
everything.
we don't always like the numbers, but we,
Well, and we're, being involved in the county, I was a city firefighter for almost 27 years. Same with Dean Jacket. I mean, worked with these guys. We worked in the county.
he's telling you to leave so you can talk.
Well, it all started because we were missing checks from the treasurer's office.
And that
So
kind
over
of
like
leads to
3
another-
months, we were starting to fill out savings and then start worried about laying off firemen and trying to get answers, and that wasn't happening.
So we had to take out 80,000 out of our savings here like a week ago just to make payroll.
Yeah.
So people
So,
are like,
and then when
they're
we're
getting nervous.
we're getting numbers at 2 million off, then
Sure.
we're like, well, where's the rest of the money? If that's what it is.
No, I understand that completely. So, yeah.
thank you guys. Thanks for listening. I mean, we're trying to run a smooth operation.
Yep.
We're basically all on the same team.
Yes, we
we're
are.
running
Yes,
for
we
the
are.
Natrona County. So
Yep.
we all have to work
So,
together.
I just wish we had more money.
I wish we did too.
So, all
I
right.
really do. It's,
Me too. I'd keep that
Tammy,
extra 2
Commissioner
million
Mill.
on there.
Cammy, I've got a question real
Sure.
quick for you. And it's kind of shifting gears, a different topic almost, but off this report right here.
Yes.
With the personal assessed value, personal property, you don't show anything under ag, so what taxes there, do you shove all the ag related personal property taxes under commercial then or something? Or
It falls within their ag status.
because I'm paying personal property tax on my tractors and balers and everything like that, so I'd
It
assume.
might not be enough to generate an actual dollar amount.
Can I skip it then, because it's pretty significant to me?
Well,
if not, they'll also pay the same.
come next year,
I mean,
there's the 75,000 exemption on all personal property. So that's going to be another
that'll be great.
issue for our office to figure out how to not waste postage and paper. But they still have to report, but I'm not getting into that. But I do want to apologize for when I first did these, I did exactly what Dave did, and I took the 1.4 million times the 3 mills, and
Right.
that's what I did. And
It's
we do this once a year. I have spent almost this entire year cleaning up our tax districts and making sure that the tables are correct. So hopefully this won't happen again going forward. Speaking with Brian today, I anticipate the values being up slightly even for next year. Even with all the exemptions, just because they're making it a little harder for those exemptions to be applied now, so.
All right.
We want lower taxes, though. We taxpayers, we want lower taxes.
I hear
I'd
you,
rather
I hear you.
tell you right now, I'd rather pay, even though I qualify for lower tax deal, I'd rather pay the full amount just to keep the fire department staffed, to be truthful with you. Because I had a barn fire in 2019, and although I've fought fire for 30-some years, you realize how important they are when something of your own catches on fire. So,
Yep.
Well, and they're typically underpaid too, and I wish they were
yeah,
had
you
better
know,
pay than they do have.
so I told my boys, you just better go to get a 4-year degree. You don't want to live off this.
So, any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy, for going
Thanks,
over those
guys.
numbers.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys,
I-
appreciate it.
And I do appreciate you guys going over that and explaining it
Okay.
and
no
having it
worries.
all in there. So, Sabrina, would you like to come forward and kind of go over kind of what we're, this is going to be fast. You heard that, Sabrina, right? This is going to be fast. So. Okay. If you want to just, I know you sent out all the updated, kind of where we're at right now on the zoning. And if you would just explain kind of where we're at and what some of the reasoning is on what we're doing, as far as industrial siting and different things, appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the emergency resolution for instituting a moratorium on wind and solar. The reasoning behind this is you all were just received not final emails, but emails yesterday regarding updates to our zoning resolution. I received, when I started with the county, several comments from attorneys, past planners, you all, different comments on just updates that needed to be done. I went through and did all those updates, and then after I got done with that, cleaned a copy up and then went through page by page. The difference on the solar, the wind and solar is proposed to go to the Industrial Siting Council first rather than come to the county first. They have much more stringent regulations, and it could, I don't know that it would affect our applications. I have not been through an application since I've been here. I've not seen a wind or solar application. We do have someone who has been emailing us for several months, just kind of asking questions. I don't know if they're going to put an application in or not. So we have nothing, so I have not been through an application process with this. But that was the idea behind.
So we don't have anybody that's currently got an application in with us, so that wouldn't be the case.
Correct.
And industrial siting, I know there's several counties that actually require that they go to industrial siting first, even if they do have zoning, before it comes back to them, to simplify things. Carbon County is a prime example of that. And my understanding from speaking with commissioners down there that has actually made life a lot easier on them, because a lot of the questions that are asked are answered through the industrial siting, and then when it comes back to us, it actually minimizes how much work you have to put into it to make sure that that application is complete and everything else.
Mr. Chairman, I like extra work.
Huh?
I like extra work. I like extra work.
Yeah. So,
No, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, that's, I am not familiar with other counties' processes. I do know that some counties that don't have zoning at all go straight to the industrial siting. Platte and Goshen County are currently in the middle of their public comment. They've had a public comment at the end of June, I believe it was. The company anticipates putting in a wind application. It actually is wind and solar. I didn't see how many solar panels, but wind, and then they did have public comment. Residents, of course, aren't happy about any of that, so I think that's why they kind of started with that, but they don't have zoning that regulates any of that, so I think they were working with the state
so,
in that.
okay. So that's basically what you're, for the moratorium, it's short term while we're moving forward and finalizing the zoning. And that's basically all it amounts to.
So I'd like to have the resolution out to the public for a minimum 45 days, hopefully 60, for public comment, and this would cover that amount of time if you all chose to do that.
Any questions?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Sabrina, thanks for being here. So emergency resolutions are typically related to the health, safety, and welfare of the public. So do you see an emergency resolution putting a moratorium on wind and solar as necessitating us taking action tonight to preserve any health, safety, or welfare of the public?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Coates, I am not familiar with the definition of an emergency resolution. I do suspect that there is a state statute that defines exactly what emergency resolution is. But as of right now today, I don't see that there's a health and safety risk just because we don't have any applications and we don't anticipate anything in the very near future.
And you're familiar with our zoning right now because you've been going through it. Do you think that this board or the P and Z is incapable of working its way through a wind or solar application, approving or denying them?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Coates, I believe with the last one that we went through, which was Haystack, that there is enough in the resolution that if there were some reason to deny it for health, safety, and welfare, that we could do that.
Thank you very much.
Could do that, and the PNC could do that.
Appreciate it.
Commissioner Milne.
The, so, Commissioner Coates took part of my thought process, and so now I've got to revamp, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dallas, while I get my,
Health, safety, welfare on the solar farms was, for me, that they had 2,000 acres of Chinese machines out there that they would keep track of by somebody down in Texas or some other state, not Wyoming, so they wouldn't even have anybody out there. And then they could never answer my question, do you have insurance in case something happened where you burn down 4 or 5 houses? Because they have it running through an LLC, which is a limited liability company, which means they have no liability. So I want to protect our citizens. If some business comes in here and some catastrophe occurs and they can walk away from it without paying to fix the people's houses or whatever might have been destroyed, then I think it's a public safety issue. So that's how I would look at anything like this with solar farms. If they can't prove to me that they're taking care of our people if there should be a catastrophe, then they have a problem with me.
Commissioner Milne, did you?
yeah, so, just to kind of go off of what Commissioner Laird just reiterated, our current zoning regulations and what we have right now, as you being in your position and looking at those and everything, are they adequate to provide the level of security for our citizens and protections?
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Milne, based on the comments that Mr. Laird just stated, I would say that is not in there currently.
So you're looking that you need more, for insurance requirements within the zoning and whatnot? Okay. And as the zoning that is, grab the other one. The zoning so that people out there can hear you. The current the zoning, that we're getting ready to put forth to revise all this, are those being included into part of our requirements?
So Mr. Chairman and Mr. Milne, I would like your all's feedback on all of that. So that was the first time I've heard, some comment like that. So if I could get feedback from you guys on what you want to see in here, I can definitely put it in. I can tell you, with having not received a wind or solar application, I'm unfamiliar with what we should be putting in here right now. We have had a lot of cell tower modification applications lately, so I've become very familiar with those.
Somewhat.
Cell tower, so wireless communication facilities is what they're called, but cell towers.
Yep. So
So a lot of modifications, upgrades to cell towers.
Brenda, let me ask you this. Do you feel like if we did make it so that they had to go through industrial siting first, that would give us a level of security that we don't currently have?
Mr. Chairman, I believe we should also look at our regulations.
Do what?
I think we should look closer at our regulations as well.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't look at our regulations. I'm just saying that would provide us with, one, right now we don't require financial. We don't require a lot of things that are specifically required when they go through the industrial siting. That's the area that I think, it's not saying that we don't tighten up our requirements. It's just saying that we utilize those as the stepping stone to make ours better.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I think we could make it better with that.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mel?
The citing, regulations, requirements and all that usually go through with the council and whatnot, are they more stringent or less stringent than ours?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Milne, they're more stringent.
So we're making it really, really stringent for them to go that hoop to go through, and then it's a big old pool at that point, basically, to hit.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Milne, and I would say yes and no because so the state has their regulations, but the county can make their own regulations that, I can have a black phone, but I can't have a dark blue phone. Or you can have a dark blue phone over here because it's okay, because we're good with that, because we can support that in our county. It's all, up to you guys on what we want that to look like. The state has their own regulations that, follows DEQ and,
I mean, if they're more stringent, then I'm not sure why we need.
I don't think they cover everything that we can cover because they're statewide.
So should we, on the zoning then, what is more stringent or what they look at, we should be able to pull that out of our zoning code then and actually remove some of that stuff, right? If we go this way,
So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Milne, that would be my understanding, I would
Did-
think.
that would be good.
The only problem with that is that if they're not big enough to go to the industrial siting, because this would only be for elements that are big enough to go to the industrial siting, would have to go there first. So if they're smaller than that and they don't meet that threshold, if we pull it out, then we would not have anything in our zoning to cover that. That's where the problem would be. Okay, Commissioner Coates?
So, Sabrina, in your experience, education, is zoning about land use?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Is zoning about land use?
Oh.
General?
So, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Coates, in my last class, in my planning class, I'll give you a little history lesson. Zoning came about for discrimination. It was not discriminatory in race, but to keep the wealthy people away from the poor people. So it was all about land use in that the wealthy people didn't want to be by the homeless and the workers from the Industrial Revolution that were the poor workers who were working the poor hours, who were the reason we have Labor Day, those kinds of restrictions. So it's all about the land use and how the land could be different and we could restrict it.
So that leads me to my next question. So, being as zoning is about land use, does it deal at all with contractual or financial or risk allocation as zoning sits?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Coates, yes, I would think so.
And then finally, if we're talking about ISC, and here we're talking about moratoriums on wind and solar, but we have projects like Radiant who want to go through the ISC, should we also put a moratorium on things like Radiant right now? And on the just in case?
So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Coates, I would do a blanket kind of,
A moratorium on all development if we're gonna do it?
that would be my suggestion, yes.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chairman, one more question, please.
Go ahead, Commissioner Mel.
On the moratorium that's before us, I'm sorry, I don't remember reading it one way or the other, and maybe you can sit down as well. Do we have an effective start and end date? Or is it just an open end date of whenever we feel like getting it done?
No, Commissioner, I believe if it's passed as an emergency, 30 days to put it back through the regular process. And in here, I think one of the changes, and I'm not positive, so this was one of the last resolutions Jared had drafted. And it went in front of you all in the May meeting, and then you all kicked it back. And what I know Ashley changed and what was missing, to my understanding, was the publication and the notice and the hearing. And on the back of this, it talks about those dates, which now clearly will be moved, and it says, put a moratorium for at least 90 days. But this just covers wind and solar.
Well, and the biggest thing is that we'll be working on the adoption of the zoning. The adoption of the zoning, if I remember right, specifically says that any item that, and this can be changed, but any item that requires it to go before the industrial siting board has to do that first. So it's not just wind and solar at that point in time. It's anything. So if Radiant, or if we had a full-blown nuclear power plant or anything like that, they would have to do that prior to. So it's not just limited to wind and solar at that point once we get the zoning passed. And that's subject to what the commission chooses to do at that time. So this would just be temporarily while we're working on the zoning to get that cleaned up.
Which was approximately how long?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Laird, I need feedback from you all to make sure that the resolution's what you want it to say. And so once we get that,
But
I sent it to you yesterday.
now, once it's published, it has to be out there for at least 45 days
I would
prior
prefer
to
60.
any adoption, and it has to go through planning and zoning before it comes back to us. So there is that process. I mean, it's not a short process. It's going to be a while, and this may all be said and done by that point in time. So.
Well, and I don't know that enough thought has been put into the thing that Mr. Coates raised about the general safety, health, and welfare of the citizens, how this may affect them if there's some issue. 'Cause I think we've been a little loose on that.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Laird, I would love for you to read the changes that were proposed and provide your own changes.
I hope so. That's a challenge. So, okay. Well, all we're going to do is discuss this today anyway, but I wanted to bring that forth so we could have that discussion and talk about it. So,
It's an easy line. If you cause the problem, you should pay for it.
all right. With that, at this point in time, we're behind schedule, and I'd entertain a motion to go into,
One moment.
okay.
I just was wondering, it would be helpful if you could give Sabrina and I clear feedback on what you want us to do with this. Set it aside, wait for change it to cover everything. I'm just not clear from this discussion.
Oh, you don't like my opinion, Dave?
I know what your opinion is. I don't think at this point in time we're going to vote for it. So it's going to be, we're going to move it down the table and look at it and discuss it more. How's that?
Thank you.
So, okay.
Sounds good to me.
See, I knew what your opinion was, and that's where I was going to go. So, okay, at this point in time, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session for personnel and property.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Motion by Commissioner Milne, seconded by Commissioner Coates. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah,
All opposed?
Nay.
One opposed.
Dallas gets to
Dallas
stay here.
opposed.
He'll man the desk.
All right. Kyle, we're coming back.
How come we didn't put him on? How come he didn't?
Jill's been sitting back there longer. She's
Oh, Jill is back there.
Yes.
I just saw.
Oh. No, we were just talking about.
We want more.
Talk to the county commissioners.
Yeah.
Jill involved in that.
Yeah, if you guys want me to come back anytime, I'm happy to come talk about
Okay.
our operation.
Sounds good. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, thanks guys, interesting stuff.
Bring money.
All right, we are back from executive session. No action was taken. At this point in time, we will call recess until 5:30. All right, we'll call this meeting to order tonight. We'll start out, is there any corrections or additions to the agenda?
Yes,
Commissioner Coates?
I would make a motion to remove A under contracts, agreements, and resolutions, emergency resolution 4125, instituting a moratorium on wind and solar from the agenda.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed?
No.
Okay,
I mean,
motion to,
opposed.
huh? No, you're not opposed.
Needs just be an honorary.
I have a second motion. I have a motion to remove item G from contracts, agreements, and resolutions. It's a motion to table the renewal of the TNF CPI grant contract for CAP and C until 9/2/25 meeting.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Coates, seconded by Commissioner Laird. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, have we got any other adjustments? All right, move on. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Coates, seconded by Commissioner Laird for approval of the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. We will move into public comments at this point in time. Any public comments? Okay, I don't see any public comments, so we will move on to commissioner comments. Commissioner Nicolason, have you got anything?
Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Commissioner Mill,
Negative.
Commissioner Coates,
None.
Commissioner Laird. And I don't have any, so